Fatal Strike and or the Tsunami Slam
Or RWM.
or the RWM. There's so much AoE in the side of Aurora. Okay. This is gonna be really interesting. TNC.
Welcome to Mobile Legends!
But Aurora brings out the Esmeralda once more in this game.
Another old reliable used up here for Mr. Consistent as they look to regain control of the series and take down the Phoenix Army. We're in game number 3. TNC versus Aurora.
Yep.
Okay, so early on here, we're taking a glimpse at the emblems. A whole lot of extra damage going over here for TNC, which is going to be crucial. Also, the 2 tanky members, right? The Hilda and the Ganakacha. Oh, hold on, Renegade?
Oh, Renegade gets tossed.
Oh.
Still goes for Lancy though, but he's forced to flicker out just to survive. Edward's also here helping the team. So that's a resource already burned for both of the roamers actually.
Yeah, quite the rotation there.
Yeah, I just like, speaking of rotation, I just like how you and Renmar mentioned this yesterday, wherein the XP laners literally don't care about their own lanes. When there's a potential clash, they expect them to be there for their team acting as the secondary roamers, and we can already see it with the rotations of Dreamar and Edward. But now is the fight for mid control. Both teams not letting up.
Yeah, Coil's right there too. I don't think this is like one of those games where either side really wants to, you know, be too aggressive in the early portion. Like, just wait for that first turtle to come up and then have that fight break out, because the ultimates that are for both teams are very based around the mages for both of them, Yue and Lancia, of course, to be able to go ahead and set things up. So they'll probably wait for those level 4s. They're going to push them through this, though. The turtle's going to be up here in just a second. So it's going to be started up. But both buffs are available. So Demon Kai wants to go grab his as well as Coil. So we might have to wait a little bit longer for that fight to break out. Lancy wants at level 4. And this could be a quite devastating team fight for either team that ends up winning it. But if they just grab the objective and then disengage, they keep things kind of even for now.
Yeah, it'll depend on whether or not they really want to go in for the full commit, since majority of the members of Aurora already have their hands on the level 4. Even Renegade. Yeah, we just got his ultimate right now, but they're holding the turtle towards their side. Look at Martizi doing a great job zoning out Renegade. There's the Revitalize coming in from Yaoi, and this'll be a turtle that'll easily go into the hands of TNC.
And they were able to stop the potential trade that Demon Kite wanted. He always loves to do this when he has the Suyo. Try to go for the purple buff trade instead of going for the turtle. Despite Aurora having level 4s across the board, they decided not to engage. So that's a huge, huge win for TNC.
Yeah, good start. Again, grabbing the objective, getting out, and also not losing your buff. So this is now where we see if TNC starts to look to make a play somewhere across the map. And when you think about it, you know, who would be the best target for them to get? It's going to be really difficult to catch Edward. So you might have to look for that mid lane or even one of the gold laners. And so that's why you have so much of the rotations happening up here. And starting from there, because again, this, for Lancy, he could be the one to go ahead and start that fight with the beacon and then utilizing the flares. But so far, it's just been kind of a stalemate.
Yeah, and I think we've been seeing this trend wherein Demon Kite on the Suyo in the early stages of the game tend to be less active in the fights. It isn't as aggressive as the previous Suyo we know before the patch. It seems like they're really taking their time.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know that even when it does come towards the late game, they at least have Demon Kite. This is a carry that could potentially melt any member from TNC if they're able to rack up the items that are necessary for them. So this is probably just Aurora, similar to game number 2, being just very disciplined in the early stages of the game. So long as they don't allow TNC to get that big of a lead once more, things are pretty much in control if you're Aurora.
Yeah, and that's why Renegade and Demon Kite are putting a lot of pressure and space for Demon Kite to scale up. And I do agree, it's even hard to execute the level 15 8-minute, 9-minute for the Suyo because of the recent adjustments. So Aurora, you can expect them to wait for their power spike, considering that they have a lot of damage coming from Dominkite with the carry, but now Turtle has spawned.
Oh, that was a successful toss, followed up by the necessary damage. But look at Renegade looking for Coil, and right before the Turtle gets low, they're able to burst him down. But Aurora might not be able to sustain the damage coming in from TNC. Renegade's left alone, and he too falls.
A 2-4-1 trade for TNC, but Aurora was able to stop them from trying to get the second Turtle. And now we're seeing the effects of how tanky and sustained TNC's lineup can. Good Yaoi AOG and revitalize after to make sure Aurora cannot escape or deal damage that they need to bring down members of TNC, as TNC will secure an uncontested Turtle.
Yeah.
TNC is going to secure that again. Objective for them, further in the gold lead just a little bit, but that's the thing. You're seeing that team fight potential, especially if Lancey decides to go ahead and grab someone with a flare, and he just gets the glorious, the glowing wand here too.
Yeah, I mean, Lancey, with the Brave's Might, with this kind of hero, can actually be a little more aggressive in terms of positioning, but hold on. Here up top, Renegade trying to look for 3 Martizi. Might just fall to the turret shots, and Coil catching up with the Yogi Shadow kill as well. Dominkite with a flicker, but still won't survive. Yu is the only one who makes it out alive.
No, that was a 3-on-1. 3 Martizi was able to hold his own and let Renegade deal a lot of turret damage. That's why Coil, easy Uwigi shadow kill to bring down 1, and they also get a turret down bottom. Not looking good for Aurora as TNC's lead balloon up to 2.5.
Yeah, almost trying to trade some of those objectives out across the map, but again, Coil getting those kills, getting built up on this Hayabusa is going to be pretty troublesome to deal with. And so you have Aurora on the back foot right now. Nothing too crazy, just a couple thousand gold. And they know that this lineup's going to have some time to build up too. I mean, even this carry pick for Dominkite is going to take time. But Benny Cutie is having the easier option right now just because of the fact that the team, what they're doing across the map. Oh!
Okay, Tsunami Slam denied by the Purify from Lancey, as you mentioned. And they might actually force their way into pressuring the mid lane a lot more, which is going to be a lot difficult for Demonkite. I mean, look at how much trouble he has to go through just to ensure that he gets the necessary farm.
Okay, another base race coming here as Benecuti tries to work on the top lane. Aurora sends five heroes just to try and take down the bottom and protect Dominkite, their main carry later on. As the Lord spawns, TNC's trying to get numbers in the Turtle Pit. Let's see if Aurora will try and contest this, or will Demonkite go for the purple buff trade?
This would be a good one for them to go ahead and contest. They are in position, the full team here, and so they might rely on Renegade to go for the pick off of the Tsunami Slam. He's got a flicker available. 3mar is going to spot them out.
Yep, look at the pressure coming in from 3mar, but once again, Kyle gets spun by Renegade and bursts it down too. Now Aurora with the real world manipulation are actually finding their way to fight back against TNC. 3mar, TZ, Lancey, and Benny Cutie have no choice but to run away.
What a great pickoff. As soon as I mentioned it, it's going to be up to Renegade to go in and utilize that flicker and the Tsunami Slam. He does just that, finds the right mark. It's Coil that he gets, and then Demonkite's able to go in and get the objective. So they go ahead and diminish the gold lead that was built by TNC, so back on even grounds here. And those are going to allow them to get a couple key items too. You now have Dominkite with the 2 out of the 3 items that he's building up on this carry. Golden Staff, Corrosive Scythe. They're going to try to get some of these turrets down though, again, because they need that space to work across the map.
But if I were Coil, I'd be extra careful the next time an objective comes up. Renegade's been really consistent in finding Coil in the midst of every single member of TNC, and it isn't going well for the Phoenix Army, who earlier was actually able to somehow set the tempo of this game already.
Yeah, it's mainly also because of Yue being a tempo breaker, wherein even if Yaoi casts a good AOG, because of that AOG, it's going to force TNC to fight back and play inside the real-world manipulation set up perfectly by Yue. That's why Aurora was able to clap back during that turtle take. And now with ground covered for the Northern Lights, they have a slight advantage when it comes to this potential first Lord. And as Renegade already has enough vision, they might go for another coil takedown, but Renegade is going to take his time.
Yeah, this is one of the big things too. Some of these key items being picked up, like this Demon Hunter Sword now for Dominkai, so he's got the Trinity locked in. UA also just recently got the Divine Glaive, so a lot of that burst damage that's working with the combination of when Renegade goes in is going to be even more devastating. It's something that Coil always has to watch out for because of the fact that that magic damage at this point hurts. Oh, hold on, 3 more. Okay, he's fine. Going to force Aurora out of their jungle, but the Lord is up now. And so this is where we see Aurora's fact that they have the Eve is giving that minor advantage to set things up the way that they want to. Here's a conceal. TNC's going to go in.
Renegade knows. Uses the title strike to reposition himself and go away. Coil has his eyes set on Edward, but that's Edward. At this point, since Edward's been already able to find his footing, he's doing a way better job at zoning the members of TNC. Unlike earlier where it's been all 3 Martisi doing the zoning. Edward's already able to jump in and out of the fights a lot more easily, but this is going to be a very interesting take on this objective.
Okay, Demon Kite's the one holding the Lord. Kiting the Lord for the side of Aurora. They know where Martisi and Yaoi is as Lassie trying to cover more ground once again. Coil still not revealing his position as well as Benny Cutie.
Oh,
and now Aurora goes in.
It's not Coil that they find, it's Yaoi, and they try to burst him down for 3 Martisi, also locking on towards Demon Kite alongside Coil. And now Renegade is the only person traded so far. Yaoi goes down as well. But it's only Yaoi gone for TNC, and Benny Cutie dashes in, forces Demon Kite away, and they somehow have gotten the better trade.
Crucial pick off there as they take down Demon Kite as well. Edward Demon Kite UA might have to surrender this Lord take as Coil works on the Lord. They only lost Yaoi, and now Yue trying to spot things out as Martisi goes for the zone.
Oh, he's handling Yue all by himself! On the other side of the map, it's Edward who secures the objective! Coil tried to take out their Demon Kite. There goes Yogi Shadow kill, but they get to dungeon, and they need Dreamer!
How did Edward get the Lord? Coil has the retribution. What did he do?
We don't know for sure, but one thing is, Edward going for the kill onto Lancy. The Star Moon takes him down. The Northern Lights are shining once again, and TNC are forced to deal with the Lord that Edward, Mr. Consistent, has stolen away.
They've been waiting for this moment. And now Edward can literally wreak havoc against TNC. They also have the Lord marching up top.
Everyone was so focused on UA dealing with 3 Mar, and then Edward goes in, gets the Lord, and they're going to be able to push into the base now with this. They got the waves pushing in, and they're knocking on these base turrets.
Okay. Base exposed for TNC, and Aurora is gonna take their time. They're not gonna force out anything because of the potential comeback play from TNC. But this is unfortunately the second time TNC almost fumbled the late game because of a Lord.
I still cannot wrap my head around how Edward actually got to take away.
We need the replay.
We do, and we definitely need to see it once more, but this is an error that TNC cannot afford to make because Aurora just immediately, with that single steal, are able to turn things around completely in terms of map control, in terms of the gold lead. And now they're looking for another fight here in the purple buff. Yeah, will he be successful enough to look for a setup? Earlier, he was the first member bursted down, but it's not a team fight they're both after. It's just denying the buff.
No purple buff here again for Coil. Compared to game number 2, he's having a hard time. He started off with an 8-0 for KDA in game number 2, now 3-2-2. And deprived of his purple buff as Aurora trying to cover ground in the jungle of TNC. They might even go for a pick-off here because Renegade, he sees a lot.
Yeah, this is, and that's the thing. It's Renegade that's causing Coil a much more difficult game in this game 3. A lot of the times too, again, it's just the combination of Renegade pulling that Tsunami Slam into the real-world manipulation of UA, and it's enough damage to go ahead and get someone low or, you know, pop through a Vitalize or some Purifies, and sometimes that might be enough. So TNC, as they get ready for this next Lord, have to kind of consider how they're going to approach this fight. It's been a lot of kind of push and pull, like let's see where Aurora decides to go, and then they can actually respond off that. Now, the good thing, too, is Benny Cutie hasn't gone down. He's been able to farm up quite a bit. So here's a conceal from Yawi. They're trying to get some vision on this Lord.
Okay, Renegade, is he gonna go for him once more? There's 3 Martizi also doing the zoning, but the Tsunami Slam isn't used just yet. There's the Revitalize already used by TNC though. So Aurora knows fully well the resources that they still have in hand, and Demon Guide secures the Lord for Aurora. Renegade gets bursted down, however, by Benny Cutie, but 3 Martizi gets traded too. They're trying to run away because Aurora still wants to go for it. The Crimson Beacon saves him, and they are left to defend once more.
Clean turtle take for Aurora for the price of the Hitman. They were also able to take down 3 Martizi. And with the base exposed at the top lane, Aurora can actually take down 2 inhibitors, if not end the game. At this point, TNC needs a huge defense, a major pickoff. Unfortunately, Renegade isn't there to lead the charge, so they might be able to defend the push.
Koi tries to go in, but look at the damage coming in from Aurora already. Edward, though, feeling the damage too from TNC, and they're able to focus on taking down the Lord. Aurora, too, seems to be disciplined enough, and they're really careful about this siege.
Slow and steady. That's all that Aurora has to do. With this, they've got now the 2 base turrets down. They saw how the last team fights went. I mean, some of the times, again, the name of the game for Aurora in these team fights is just to get some of the battle spells even from TNC, and that might be enough to give him an advantage in a team fight. So that's something, like I said earlier, that TNC kind of has to consider when they approach those Lord fights, you know, whether that's utilizing conceals or not, whether that's them initiating. Again, Benny Cutie hasn't gone down. They have to be able to protect Benny. And as long as Benny Cutie is alive, then TNC has a shot. Not only that, but Coil too. Coil on the Hayabusa always has the potential to take the Lord. And that's why a lot of those Lords that we're seeing started up happen so quickly. It's not Rora waiting to see what happens. They're being the decisive ones to be like, let's start this Lord, let's go for it. And if we have to team fight, we will. Because of the fact that the way the team fights have been going around the real-world manipulation is giving them that minor advantage. Lancey's not having an easy time to try to initiate some of these fights or even, you know, utilize that the flares or the beacon here.
Yeah, it's mainly because of the threat of Renegade entering in at any given moment, or Edward, the Falling Star Moons. He has also a Winter Crown, so you can expect Edward to literally go in body first with the Falling Storm when you just cast that Winter Crown play to bait off a lot of battle spells as well as ultimates that can come from the Phoenix army. And as TNC is trying to salvage whatever they can, they're protecting Coil as he gets his orange buff, but Aurora, they might go for a conceal play. They're just waiting for the go signal. They know where the members are, but TNC will try and disengage and avoid that.
I wonder where TNC wants to approach and come from if they really want to engage in a fight against Aurora, because Renegade and the rest of the members are really taking good control of every single possible entry point that TNC might come from. If earlier 3 Martizi is able to work his way around the members of Aurora, I don't see him being able to do that anymore.
18-minute Lord has spawned. TNC, this might be the last effort, the last attempt to try and salvage this game and get redemption up against the Northern Lights. Yawi zoning out Aurora. Aurora just waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. 3 Martizi in the picture as well. Renegade might go for Lancey here, as TNC is holding on to this Lord. Here comes Renegade with the conceal, but gets stopped by the Death Sonatas.
They're revealed. I wonder if Yawi's planning to go in for an AOG with a timing of his own, because so far it seems like Aurora's the one trying to cook up something. Renegade, the tidal strike, the Tsunami Slam combo gets denied by the knockup of the Lord. But Yue gets the Lord for Aurora!
Oh no!
No, it's Edward trying to chase after Coil, but look at where the Dominkite is!
There's the Shadow, but Dominkite in the middle! Might be able to take down Coil. Here comes Owigi. Shadow Girl gonna bring him down. Lancey and 3 Martizi desperately trying to defend, but again, Yue with a double kill. Also got the Lord. 2 are left to defend the push of Aurora.
It's Lancey and 3 Martizi, and they are the ones who can still potentially potentially defend this, but all other members and the Evolved Lord from Aurora's marching in!
Lord, sieging in onto the mid demon. Edward enters in. 3 Martizi desperately trying to delay.
There's the Purify used by Lancy, but 3 Martizi won't